Never did I think I would do any sort of review on this channel, let alone an anime review. But today we're reviewing Akikan. I'll try not to spoil the show, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to get cancelled for spoiling Akikan. Akikan is an anime about, well, I don't know how to put this. Juice cans fighting each other to decide which type of juice can is better, aluminium or steel. Anime is weird. Basically, there are these cans called Akikans, and when someone drinks from it, a juice can waifu pops out. I'll explain that better later. Our main character is Kaguru Daichi, which Wikipedia makes very clear that he's a virgin. Maybe too clear. How do I describe him? At the start of the show, he buys a can of melon juice from a vending machine and it fails to give him change. At 2 minutes and 45 seconds into this anime, we have a guy blaming a faulty vending machine on his virginity. As you do. I had incel vibes early into this show. Our next main character is Melon. She is one of these Akikans who appears out of the can Kaguru bought after he tries drinking it. Melon is your typical tsundere, always getting into arguments with Kaguru. Although unlike Kaguru, I quite liked Melon, and if it weren't for her, I certainly would have dropped this show early on. Now, I've disliked a few characters in anime, but I've never disliked anyone more than Kaguru. His ego is way too high. Everything good on the planet was caused by him, and everyone must bow down to him. He's always making these lewd jokes, which aren't funny and aren't necessary. They don't add anything to the plot, but there wasn't really much of a plot, and it can be painful at points. The next main character is Najimi, a childhood friend of Kaguru and a student of whatever the name of the school is. She has a crush on Kaguru for some reason, so I guess she sees something in him that I don't. She's a nice character, I didn't hate her or anything, but she is kind of a bit plain. Najimi's Akikan is Yell, who I'd say is my second favourite character. At the start she seems kind of emotionless, but as her relationship with Najimi develops, she becomes deeper and more relatable. The next character is some grape Akikan, who is sometimes in the show, and she's just comic relief. And then there's this girl who likes Najimi and throws cards at people who annoy her, mainly Kaguru, which seems we have a common enemy. And she's like a witch or something, but the show makes it unclear if she's like actually a witch with magical powers or if it was a hallucination or what. But okay, we're done with the characters, let's talk about the actual show. Lewd jokes and fan service are pretty common in the show, and it's a complete mess. So many scenes are just ruined by them. Yet it's incredibly childish, as if the show was made for kids. No one who understands the kinds of jokes in this show would enjoy its childness, and anyone who enjoys its childness is too young for some of its content. In fact, the first thing Kaguru says is a lewd joke. Early on in the show, we're introduced to two members of the Ministry of the Economy. They tell Kaguru about the Akikan elect, and how they want to work out if steel or aluminium cans are better. There are probably better ways to work out which is better, other than making them fight each other, but this is anime. And these people break into Kaguru's house in the most cartoonish way, by using a chainsaw to cut his door open. The worst part of this show is that some of it's actually deep and heartfelt, but everything gets ruined by this anime's inability to stay serious for long periods of time. At one point more than 3 minutes had passed and the show still hadn't been childish yet, and I actually counted how long it could stay serious for. Some scenes are actually relatable. The Akikan's trying to figure out how the world works, and having problems all of us have experienced are done well. Now, a major theme in Akikan is loneliness, and the show does a good job of exploring this. Melon and Yell both want to protect their owners and grow strong emotional attachments to them. They feel lost without them, and you can see the toll it does on their mental health. Some of the other characters feel lonely too, but it wasn't anything that I haven't seen in another anime before. The relationship between Melon and Kaguru was actually well developed, mainly on Melon's end. Well, only on Melon's end. It was good enough from Melon's perspective that it made up for Kaguru's poor character development. Melon looks up to Kaguru, that's very clear. The only problem I have with this is that Kaguru will find any chance to brag to Melon whenever he can. I really wish there was more of a waifu war between Melon and Yell in the Akikan community, but there doesn't seem to be an actual Akikan community. In episode 10, we hardly see Kaguru or Najimi. The episode mainly focuses on the Akikans, and I gotta say, it was my favourite episode, not dealing with all the annoying characters and just focusing on the ones I actually liked. Melon and Yell are mostly doing household chores, and they do a really good job at making it not feel bland, and the childness of the show is actually an advantage here, and it pays off well. It wasn't until episode 11 when the main plot really unfolds. I know, second last episode. I won't spoil it, and I just can't be bothered explaining it. After this fight, it just ends. There's no season 2. But the story continues in the light novels. I think I would read them, but there's no English translation. There's also some OVA, but I haven't heard the best things about it, so I think I'll stay away from it. And besides, no season 2 of Akikan, I'm not really upset. There's more shows which I'd prefer a season 2 from. Overall, the show was just okay. There was so many things about it I just couldn't get over, which made it not up there with all my other favourite anime. I was thinking about the things I would remove and all the things I'd add into it to make it better, but I realised that would just be a weirder version of Fate. But Fate is so complicated, if I woke up and learned Akikan was part of the Fate canon, I wouldn't question it. Honestly though, Fate and Akikan have so many similarities, but one is clearly better than the other. That's all for this video. I know that most of you wouldn't have expected an anime review, except for some people I told on Discord that I was doing this. But have a great day, and don't watch Akikan because I watched it so you didn't have to.